If you have been part of the anime community for a long time, you might have noticed that compared to the earlier days, there has been an increase in the amount of shows airing each season. With so many shows out there and with the quality of shows just getting better and better, everyone's gonna have their own take on what is anime of the year, what you should watch and what to avoid. And with the anime community being more prominent than it ever was, even shows that don't grasp the immediate attention of the masses will get their spotlight one way or another. Odd Taxi established its own little support group with the people in it praising it like the next coming of the gospel. More and more people started riding the 86 hype train as it was nearing its finale, and even Skate the Infinite and Aquatope have held a fair share of the community's attention. However, with such a large array of great shows, it's easy to let one slip under the radar. An old shonen legend that after many years has finally made its grand return into the scene of anime. World Trigger. What? Not many of you might know about World Trigger. It's a little hidden gem that appeared in 2014, was put on hiatus after 70 or so episodes, to finally return with 2 whole seasons this year. But despite the new seasons looking better than ever, I understand why no one was talking about it. I mean, well, first of all, it's the second season, and if you watch that before the first one, you are objectively a psychopath. But let's say you're semi-interested and decide to look it up on YouTube, only to find an 8th greatest attempt of using Windows Movie Maker for the first time. Where the fuck is the animation? Yes, the marketing for the show was downright awful, and with no buzz from the community nor any reason to watch this over the other bangers that came out, I understand why anyone would skip the high-concept futuristic team battle esports tournament arc and Evangelion as CSGO Bloons Tower Defense shonen anime. World Trigger is a medium long-running shonen battle series that started airing all the way over in 2014, about a team of tech-enhanced fighting teenagers trying to rise to ranks through a multiplayer esports style tournament, all taking place in this one metropolis. Welcome to Mikado City, a living and breathing microcosm that's under the constant threat of invasions by giant monsters known as neighbors. Neighbors are beings from planets far more technologically advanced than our own that float through the universe and sometimes invade and kidnap people from other planets. 4 years ago, in what was soon to be known as the largest invasion on Earth, neighbors nearly wiped out the entirety of Mikado City, when from out of nowhere the organization known as Border appeared and used the technology known as triggers to dispose of the invaders quickly. Since then, Border has set up a base of operation in Mikado City, acting as a protector for its citizens and a military base of some sort, where teenagers train to become the next generation of defense soldiers. And if that already sounds interesting to you, then stop the video. Go watch. I'm just trying to sell my own gospel over here. Border itself is this fascinating group that ties everything in the story together. Here we have a massive organization consisting of several departments, each with their own interests that collide, mix, or sometimes are direct opposition of each other, but always come together for the singular goal of protecting the city against hostile aliens. Among the agents inside of Border, they have their own hierarchy divided into ranks going from S to C, based on how many elo points they have with a specific weapon. Inside these ranks, solo and team battles are held to earn points and rise the ranks of the organization. One of those teams is of course the one our main protagonists make up. The story has 4 main protagonists, but is mostly told from the eyes of Mikumo Osamu, a low-ranking border agent and one of the weakest members of the organization. He's an underdog in the truest sense of the word. He wasn't born with any OP hidden power or talent, he doesn't have a family tree of great warriors, nor does he gain any power after the story starts. Well, except for the power of drip, of course. He's just an ordinary guy trying to navigate himself through the fast world of the elite with nothing more than his brains and the help of his teammates. Those being a friendly albino neighbor that suffers from constant Pikachu face, and a totally adorable, albeit slightly creepy, 8th grader who in every sense of the word is totally normal. Asterix. Might also be an artillery lolly cannon. Together they form the team of Tamakoma 2 and take on the elite of Border. Underdog stories like these are a dime a dozen. Main character starts off as a little bitch and then gains or unlocks some OP hidden power, then becomes the big boss bitch. And if you have followed any of those stories, then World Trigger might seem like it's exactly gonna play out like that, but then he dies. No, wait, fuck, wrong script. Something I love about Osamu's journey is that he realizes that he can't be a hero in the traditional sense of the word. He attempts to mimic the hero he looks up to out of a sense of duty and admiration, but fails time and time again because he's trying to become someone he currently isn't. It is only by understanding his own weakness and focus on the things that he can do and be that he grows as a character. And I find this really refreshing when you compare it to so many other shonen protagonists out there. This doesn't mean he never faces combat, it just means he doesn't develop during it, but but rather through the careful analysis of his actions after the fight has taken place. By the way, speaking of combat, World Trigger's power system uses many of the same fundamentals as many other shonen. You have your mana or your Trion and your powers or your triggers. Using these in combination with each other allows characters to equip and use different kinds of abilities and functions, from extending katanas and shape-shifting swords to a variety of guns, sniper rifles and even bullets that can be controlled at will. A character can equip up to 8 different triggers, use 2 of them at the same time, and can even combine the same trigger types for a variety of effects. On top of that, every weapon has their own weight, power and extra functions, and the bullets can be adjusted to the tiniest details, from their firing speed, size to the moment they are shot. To try and explain all the ins and outs of the power system in a 15-minute video would be like trying to do a detailed explanation of what the hell happens at a Dragonborn speedrun. So yeah, I'll just go over the cool stuff. Take for example my favorite weapon of the show, Scorpion. A Trion sword that has the ability to alter its shape in whatever the user wants it to be and can be grown from every place on the body, giving it the flexibility that no other trigger has. For example, a character can make a surprise attack by sending a blade into the ground with their foot to make an attack inside of someone's blind spot, or even replace some parts of their body with the blade. It gets even crazier later when this guy combines 2 scorpions together to make a Star Wars Electro Plasma Whip, or, I kid you not, do even a fucking Spider-Man. However, this flexibility comes at the cost of its durability, as it gets easily shattered by triggers with a higher defense stat. And just like that, every trigger has its ups and downs. Kogetsu is durable and easy to handle, but lacks flexibility and range. Gun triggers are great for extensive fire, but drain a lot of Trion. The sniper cannon Ibis has an incredible firepower at the cost of speed, and some optional triggers might be very versatile, like the wire trigger Spider, but are complicated to use and don't result in many kills, making it undesirable for a lot of agents. Nothing in the show is overpowered nor underpowered, and this says a lot about the writer's ability to craft a complex and unique, but easy to understand power system that doesn't tip the scales of balance too much in anyone's favor. But as amazing as this all sounds, there's one thing that the writer pulled off that's even more impressive. Child slaughter. Sorta. So when a trigger is used, the user's body will be stored inside the trigger and replaced with a combat body entirely made out of Trion, aka the Trion body, aka how to keep your manga and my videos kid-friendly. Trion body is such an interesting concept because it allows for things that can be replicated in many other shonen battle series. Characters can get stabbed, shot or full-on decapitated, but it doesn't matter because technically that's not their actual body. I swear, officer, it's not. This gives the author a lot of creative liberty and he uses it to the full extent, not only to heighten the stakes in intense battles, but, for example, some characters have even developed tactics where they willingly sacrifice parts of their body as a distraction so they can have an opening to finish the opponent off. But even this is balanced, as multiple wounds drain a person's Trion supply, and once it runs out, they get forcefully built out of their Trion body and can't re-enter it until they have fully replenished. So, you have all these different mechanics, all these little its and bits. How do you best apply them? Well, you may have heard of this little thing called the tournament arc. I give you the whole fucking circle! Tournament sphere! Tournament sphere! Tournament sphere! World Trigger's Tournament Arc. 45 episodes of strategic battles between 3 or 4 teams of different squads of board members, all with their own personality, playstyle and strategies, set up in a huge VR esports tournament. Complete with an audience and its very own commentators that give in-depth commentary and a play-by-play as the match progresses. I don't play League anymore, thank God. But as someone who would always be pulled back by the insanity of professional play and has wanted to see an esports anime for the longest of times, I'm overjoyed to finally see an anime that can give me a similar kind of feel that watching any big League events would give me. We've got hype, we've got plays, we've got that one diamond player smurfing their way through bronze. What I find so utterly addicting about watching these matches is just how smart everyone in this world is. World Trigger lays a huge emphasis on strategies and tactics, meaning that most fights are determined by who is more prepared. Days before matches begin, the main cast does extensive research into the strategies and general patterns of the opposing teams and comes up with plans to counter them. The map on which the teams play, the time of days and even the weather can be fully customized to the wishes of the team with the lowest amount of points. And over the course of this show, the author will display how every condition can be used in combat, with so many different parties participating in battle at the same time, each with their own objectives and plans. You just never know what will happen next, who will go for who, and when someone will drop, and it gives the series a sort of dynamism that no other anime can replicate. While the battles from season 1 might be a bit stiff, they are are still really tactical and fun to watch, and the current season have hit us with non-stop bangers, created with a lush and figure that would give some of the higher budget shows a run for their money. Something I hate is when the show purposely dumps down a character's intellect just to make the main character look like some 300 IQ 5-dimensional chess player. But in World Trigger this isn't really an issue because 99% is a 300 IQ 5-dimensional chess player. The other 1% is the Coma Squad. While I can gush about the systems and battles for hours on end, I think the true pleasure of World Trigger is learning about these powers and experiencing all these kinds of crazy strats for yourself. Battles and combat system are the physical body that attracts people to the series from the outside. But if I gotta be honest, the thing I really like about the show is just the groups of different characters and the way that they interact with one another. With all the squads and all the important figures inside and outside of Border, this cast scores an incredible amount of characters. Like, I've watched this show almost 3 times now and done hours of research in preparation for this video, and I still have situations where I'm like,
Derek!
Nope, that's not it.
Mike?
You're warmer?
Nate?
Colder.
Ash?
Way colder.
Joe!
You're frigid. You're absolutely
Ethan.
frigid.
Evan?
having this many characters can easily work against its favor, but World Trigger manages to pull it off well because every character is given careful attention. They aren't just introduced for the sake of an arc and then simply forgotten about. Once the character is introduced, they stay part of that world. They have multiple cute character moments with other members of Border, and through these small interactions the writer really fleshes them out, not just as rounded and multi-layered characters, but rather as people. There's this scene in season 3 where a group of different squad members go to a barbecue restaurant, and after they are done you have this little interaction of one guy giving his homie a ride home. And, well, that's it. It is just a 10-second scene of bros being bros that could have been easily cut out, but I'm happy it's there because I started thinking and came to the following train of thought. The author must have considered where each character lived and how they would get home, and because these people are buddy-buddy and have to go the same way, one offered the other one a ride. It's as simple as that. This would probably also mean that the author has an entire map of Mikado City with detailed information about where everyone lives and where they went to school, and probably much more. And the manga seems to support this theory with pages dedicated to different key locations of Mikado City and how they are connected to the world and the characters. This moment might be small and insignificant, but it is through scenes like these that we really get an idea of how every character in this universe had its own life outside of the story we are being shown. And that takes a lot of passion. From everything you can see that World Trigger is Daisuke Ashihara's dream project. From his earlier works almost acting like a prototype for the mechanics, from the little notes in between chapters about key locations, to the detailed answers he gives to the stupidest of character questions. Like seriously, you gonna tell me this guy burned his eyes with his favorite barbecue plates? Kinda based. Not gonna lie. And I love this show for it, and I want to gush about it and just tell everyone to watch it, but even I know it's obviously not without its flaws. Season 1 is especially rough to get into, with sometimes 3 to 4 minutes of recap per episode, whole chunks of the show being dedicated to the internal politics of Border, cliffhangers, awful animation, more talking, more character introductions, more cliffhangers, and a pacing that would make a snail seem like gold medalist Formula 1 rider Max Verstappen. If I were to follow the show when it first came out, I would not nearly be such a fan of it as I would be today. It's a slow burn from the start, with a lot of small but crucial things happening and information being given that either serve as the basis for large complex systems or are setups for future events. With this comes that a lot of the runtime is dedicated to introducing or fleshing out the characters, planning or strategizing in preparation for the ranked wars, or learning more about the combat system, and if this doesn't interest you, then this might just not be for you. But World Trigger is also a meticulous, well-thought out journey about a small yet extraordinary part of the world. One that focuses on heavy character interaction, which makes the actual progress of the main characters feel grounded in reality, while subsequently establishing its very own, very detailed microcosm. It's technical, it is strategic, it can be pretty funny sometimes, and if you have been craving the feeling of fully immersing yourself into an exciting piece of media, then this is the show for you. I might just be a low-class YouTuber, high-class gentleman, with no real influence on the popularity of this show, but, well, maybe together we can make a miracle happen.